Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa Barwise from Mummy's Shape School, and today we are going to make our own homemade guacamole. Guacamole is one of our favourites in this house. We love Mexican food. In fact, if we could, we would eat Mexican food every day of the week. We don't, but we'd like to, basically. And this is one of Josh's favourite recipes as well. He enjoys this more with on rice crackers or with corn chips or with many different things that you can eat it with. And of course, the star of the show in guacamole is the avocado. Avocados are so good for you, and they've had a bad rap in terms of the fact that they are a high-fat food, but they're good fats. They're full of really good fats, omega-3 and 6, and just really a really good thing, especially for your skin, full of vitamin E and stuff as well. And it's a good alkaline food too for alkalining your body. So all around, a superfood in my opinion, and that's why I think we don't eat enough avocados, and that's why I wanted to do this recipe. So this is a recipe that I've adapted from different recipes that I've seen, and sometimes I kind of vary depending on what I have ingredients wise in my house and in my cupboard. But today we're going to use I have three avocados here, two smaller ones and a larger one. Make sure your avocados are ripe so that there's a bit of squeeze in them. That's how you know that they are ripe, especially, and then check the ends as well. We've also got a salad onion, or scallion as we know it here in Belfast, a salad onion. You could use a red onion. I personally think that a red onion makes it very strong onion taste. Garlic as well. We've got lime, and then we've got lovely fresh coriander here, and then a mixture of what spices you want to do depending on how spicy you want it to be. I always use ground cumin in any Mexican dish I have, just to give it a bit more depth of flavour. Chili flakes here for that spiciness, but again, depending on if you're eating it with kids, how much you want. And again, hot sauce if you want to go really spicy. But those are the main ingredients. So we're going to get started with this. To get started, you're going to need a couple of pieces of equipment. I use my NutriBullet for blending this. You could use a hand blender or a food processor if you like. I just like the NutriBullet because it's got a good blade and it's easy to use. I use a garlic crusher to crush my garlic. That's just 1 clove of garlic in there. I would maybe use up to, I don't know, 3 or 4 if you like it quite strong and garlicky, but that one's quite a big one, so it's an easier way rather than chopping your garlic. And then a nice sharp knife, very, very important to have a sharp knife to cut through the avocados. A tip when cutting the avocados is that you want to cut it down like all the way around in half, like this. There you go. And as you see, that's a really nice ripe avocado there because it's very yellow. There's not as much of the green. But there's a wee tip of getting the stone out of a ripe avocado. If you just use your knife, give it a good spin there, and then just turn it, it just comes out in one, which is nice and easy for you to get it out. Okay, so then what to do is I would just get a spoon here and then scoop the avocado into your blender or whatever kind of machine you're going to use. Very simply. Okay, there we go. Now this one was quite a large one, and I've let it ripen for a couple of days because it was a little hard when I bought it, unfortunately. The nature of the way food is transported these days. Best way to ripen an avocado, never put an avocado in the fridge. Keep it out of the fridge and leave it with other fruit, and that will help it ripen, like with bananas or lemons and things like that. Okay, so there is equivalent of about 3 avocados in there, and you can just add as many as you like to taste, depending on what works for you. What else I would add is probably about the majority of one of these spring onions or salad onions, using the green bits as well as the white bits, and just chop that roughly because your machine's going to do all the work for you anyway. There you go, stick that in. Okay, and then with regards to the lime, I would use a whole lime for this. Best thing to do is just cut it in half, and using your hand as like a little sieve, just squeeze it in there so that you don't get any of the pips or anything in here. And just add it in. The limes will actually counteract any of the spiciness in the the chilies and things. So that's why it's important to add a good lime. You can add lemon if you don't have lime. It just doesn't quite taste the same. But the other thing it does is it helps to keep the avocado from going brown so quickly. The downside of making your own is that it will go brown by day 2. So you kind of need to eat it fresh. So just eat the whole thing. That's what I say. You do have to remember that it is quite a calorific food because of the fact that it has high fat. It's a really good health food. But, you know, if you were to eat one of these every day in terms of calories, it will impact your weight loss. But it is definitely something that's nice served with corn chips or things like that. Right, okay, that's that squeezed in. And then it's just to taste, really. I just sprinkle in a little bit of the chilies, like that. Like I wouldn't be half a teaspoon. Probably the same with the cumin, just like half a teaspoon to a teaspoon. And a little dash of my friend Cholula. And that's kind of that. So we're just going to zizzer up. So we're just going to like basically zizz it in the zizzer, as you like. I always call it the zizzer. Here we go. It's just about giving it a good shake. And making sure. Now the consistency you want to get, you don't want to get it too soft. So you are going for something a little bit more lumpy. You know, a bit chunky. If you prefer it smooth, then by all means, you know, do that until it's smooth. Here we go. Okay, that's most of it there. I'm going to add the coriander in now. So I'm just going to basically grab a bunch of coriander and take a big chunk of it here. So just like a handful, basically. Stick that in at the end because that will blend up really quickly. Be that basically. That is your guacamole made very simply in a matter of minutes. It's a great dish to serve if you're actually bringing, you know, going to places to friends for entertaining, things like that. And also the kids really love it. That's really good, especially with the fresh coriander. And at the very end, don't forget, you need to season your guacamole just with salt and pepper. Works really well. And try to get the seasons for you. Try to get the right consistency, just to make sure. And then you can just blend that in. You don't need to actually use the zizzer. You can just kind of, you can stir that in. Just make sure that you've got the consistency that you like. I personally find that you need to use quite a bit of salt and pepper to really draw the flavor of the avocado out. But that's us. That's our recipe. Season to taste. Maybe you want to substitute the scallion for a red onion. Maybe you like it a little bit hotter if you're not having it for kids or if you're not bringing it to somebody's house that you don't know or things like that. By all means, add more of that. But please, if you do try it, comment below. Tell us what you thought of it. I would love to hear from you.